I'm now down on Kinny Harmon Road. This road runs on out to Poinciana. It's $15 million per mile road, $150 million for 10 miles. But this is that existing utility easement. As you can see, the white markers indicate an ethanol petroleum pipeline that's already there. You know, this was existing, been here since at least 1986. Sorry to repeat myself, but it really irritates me that they spent money taking people's lands when this was here, and it basically starts right where they're starting from. That was looking north, back towards the compressor station. This is looking south. You know, and here's all their warning signs about not digging along here. There's the ethanol petroleum pipeline that already exists in a utility easement. And from here you can tell it's a pretty wide easement. It's at least 50 feet wide. And it's already built up. No going through wetlands. No, that was already done way back when they built it. But it continues on through some gated communities that I'm pretty sure that's why they didn't follow this existing utility easement. Anyway, I'm going to pull on down and see if I can get to another point, because this is about maybe 1.5 miles south from the Parker Road video, and maybe 2 or 3 miles from the actual compressor station. Direct line, you know, straight line, no crossing roads, no going through wetlands, just following an existing utility easement. And almost no houses along it. They wouldn't have been digging in my backyard or surrounding my subdivision with a methane gas line. This is the high power line back in the gated community. Here's your ethanol petroleum pipeline. There's your high power line. And I'm looking, I guess it would be north. And then this would be looking south from one of their entrances to their high dollar homes and their condos and townhomes and, you know, their pools. But there's another pipeline sign, ethanol petroleum, and there's the high power line. And trust me, if I could drive far enough back there, you'll see where they've come behind my house, which is back over that direction, kind of southwest of where I'm standing. But they're coming right back to this easement back here that I will make it back there eventually when I can find the right property owner that will allow me. But just wanted to show the existing utility easement that would have saved probably millions of dollars from purchasing or taking land through eminent domain or purchasing it or whatever. It would have saved millions. One other thing I'd like to point out, this community has so much respect for our water. It's about 10 minutes to 1 on a Saturday. Our rules say you don't water this time of day. And they wonder why their grass keeps dying. But here they are watering the sidewalk, the street. And it's running off, running down the little storm gutter. You know, now I realize they have a private well for their irrigation, but they also have a consumptive use permit, which they can use up to a certain amount. But here they are watering right in the middle of the day, St. Augustine grass. It will cook it, and it shouldn't be happening at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It should be happening, you know, early mornings when the water would be best used. Anyway, back to the pipeline trail and the existing easement. Let me see if I can get further down and find a way in. One other thing that I noticed on the way back to the truck is this little line of dead grass. You know, this is one of their retention ponds. But they've sprayed all around the edge with an herbicide, probably containing glyphosate. And I don't believe, you know, there are aquatic friendly herbicides, but I don't believe any of them are actually friendly to the water. Fish may not die from it, but when you contaminate the water with it, what does it do to the human life that live off of water? Because water is life. It sustains all life. But they have sprayed all the way around this. Yeah, this is probably only maybe a half acre, if that. But they've sprayed all around it. They do every one of their retention ponds this way. I don't believe it's the proper use of a herbicide, even if it's the water aquatic type. It's not good for humans. Well, I'm back along the pipeline, or the existing high power line, existing utility, the ethanol petroleum pipeline. You can see somebody's actually mowed, and I believe that's in one of the other videos, but there's the high power line. And that would be looking north. And this would be looking south. And you can see all the little yellow markers, the ethanol, petroleum markers, and then the high power line. And it goes on and on and on. And then down there, I don't know if you can see it, but down there towards the end, it turns and goes a little bit west. That's where it's going to come back into the trail where they went through 47 wetlands to get there, instead of following this easement that was already here. And if you notice, there's no homes back in that area at all. You know, I mean, you got some homes back over there, of course, in the gated community, but that's a pretty wide easement. You know, I would guess it's probably 75 feet. And that you'd disturb nobody back here, and very little wetland. You know, it's already built up, it's already here. But no, let's bring it over and surround some houses with it. Here's more of the watering at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and most of it is running across the road. You know, on both sides. And there's no reason to be watering this at 1 o'clock in the day. You know, especially when most of it's running over the edge. You know, it's enough water. It's overflowing. And I think this is pretty unique. That's a off-road fuel tank, I'm sure, to fill up their equipment during construction. But you can see the dead grass around it, and some kind of open 5-gallon drum next to it. And yeah, that's nice that they put a fuel tank inside a containment area. But without a roof over it, what happens when the rains come and that containment tank fills up? I think we all realize that fuel is lighter than water, so it sits on top. So when this thing fills up with rainwater, what spills out is all the stuff they're trying to contain inside that containment tank. It just doesn't work that way. You got to have a roof over it to keep the rainwater out. I mean, I appreciate the fact that at least they have the fuel tank in a containment tank, but it really doesn't work without a roof over it. But this is what our DEP and our EPA, the environmental protection people, say is all good. But if you look at the dead grass right at the edge, something's been spilling out. And then you got a 5-gallon drum of something that's wide open. You know, and this is their protection of our water. It doesn't work. Had to stop when I saw this. I think this is pretty unique. Golf course in the background with about probably a 10-foot, 12-foot alligator sitting on the shore, waiting on that golfer to come get his golf ball. Where is he? Right there. That's as close as I can zoom in. But you got the golfers over here golfing away. And a big old alligator sitting on the shore. Let me see if I can find him again. There he is. Anyway, just thought it was kind of unique. I've traveled back north, but I wanted to get a picture of this. Let me zoom out. This is the pipeline going back north within the gated community. You can see in the distance one of the yellow markers that shows the ethanol petroleum.